You have a whole bunch of buttons, but you don't use them in your junk and art journals because they just don't match the style of your projects? Then watch this video where I show you how you can alter your boring buttons in some fun, individual fabric buttons in just a few minutes. Hello, I'm Susanne from Susie's Journal Adventure and welcome to a new adventure in and with my journals. So these are really boring, aren't they? And at first I want to show you how you can make a fabric button like this, which is I don't know if you can see this, yes, which is a little bit squishy because of the filling inside. And let me at first show you how I make a button like this. So you need a piece of fabric. This is a piece of fabric that I dyed with acrylic inks and watercolors some days ago. And I'm just cutting a circle, out of the fabric that is approximately 1.5, but not more than twice as the size of the button. I'm not measuring. If you know me already, I don't like measuring. I'm just cutting roughly. And then I think I'm just cutting here. This does not have to be a perfect circle, as you can see here. And you can check if you have the right, approximately the right size by, by folding the fabric around the button. And then you see, okay, we have too much bulk here. And I think I cut a little bit off again. Okay, this could get a little bit, this could be a little bit too small now. Because I want to add filling material. Well, let's try it. Let's just try it. I mean, it's only a piece of fabric. So I take a needle, thread, and the first step is we are going around the edge of the circle with a rough straight stitch. It doesn't matter at all if you have a perfect circle. Again, we just want to have the stitching around the piece of fabric that we've just cut out, because in the end the button, well, when we put the fabric around the button, we will get a circle automatically when we close the fabric in the end. You will see in a minute or in 2. The stitches don't have to have the same length. And in the end, the last stitch you make has to end on the same side of the fabric as you have as the beginning of the thread. Oh, I lost the thread. Okay, now let's also where's the beginning? Here. So you want to have it like this. I have the beginning and the ending of the thread on the same side of the fabric circle. This is how you want to have it. Okay, now for this step you can still choose which side of the fabric you want to have on the right side. Well, if you can place the button here or here. It doesn't matter. In this step you have to decide now. And I form a little, how is it called, funnel, by carefully pulling the thread. You see, you get it, this little thingy here. And now we need some filling material. So this is the filling material that I use. This is a kind of a material that you can find in, you know, in the soft toy animals. Is that the right word? I don't know. Soft toy animals, or in pillows. Maybe you have an old pillow that you don't use anymore. You can alternatively use fabric scraps. If you have tiny fabric scraps, then you can just take these ones as the filling material. I will use this because I have a lot of this material in my stash. And I make a little ball. This is already too much. So I just put this filling material in the fabric funnel and I put the button on top. You can press down the button now, and with the other hand you can carefully pull the thread. Yeah, that's perfect. You can see it here. We have chosen the right size of the fabric circle, and now I carefully pull the thread and close the opening, and then I press down the whole thing with one finger, and with the other hand I try to make knots.
One knot, two knots, let's make 3 knots.
And here is your fabric button. You can see it's more dimensional than before. Can you see this? I hope so. Because of the filling material. And what you can do now is you can leave the threads as they are, because if you want to sew the button on, for example, a journal cover, as I've done here, you can already use this thread to sew the button on. Or you can cut the thread off, and you can later on go in here and use a new thread to sew the button on. So let me show you another version of my fabric buttons. For the second version, I want to make a button without the filling material, because you can perfectly use this kind of button on a journal cover or another art project. But if you want to use the button in your journal, this is maybe a little bit too bulky. I mean, I like it bulky, but not that bulky on a journal page. And that's why I want to make a button without bulk, where we only have the size of the actual button. I will use this kind of fabric. This is also dyed with acrylic ink and watercolors, as the other one I've just shown you. So let me cut again a circle, and for this kind of button we want the circle to be a little bit smaller than here, because we don't have the bulk in the end, and we don't need that much fabric. So I will cut approximately 1.5 the size of the button, and I've already made myself a template. So you can see I will cut this circle out of the fabric. Here's my fabric circle, and I will now do the same thing as I've done with the other button. I will go around the circle with a straight stitch. Okay. Here I have my circle, and now we won't use the filling material. I'm just looking, yes, I want this side to be seen in the end. So I'm carefully again pulling the thread. Oh, let me just pull on the one thread, because I want to have the same length for both ends. And now we can make the knots again. Okay. This is our button. You can leave it now, of course, if you want, as it is. I want to add more interest, and so I will thread the needle again with one of the endings here, and I will go through the holes of the button. You know, here are 2 holes. Of course, there are also buttons with 4 holes. I have 2 holes here, and you can normally feel where the holes are through the fabric. And what I do is at first I punch a hole put the needle through one hole, and then I can see where I have to put the needle from the other side. So here we are. And I will do this again with the other thread, with the other ending of the thread, and with the other hole. So now we have the threads on the front of the button. And what you can do is you can just tie a knot or 2 knots and leave it this way. I want to add more interest. So I have this strip of fabric, cutting down a small piece, and I have some sewing thread. And let me grab some more thread, the orange one. And now I want to put this, oh, this is going to be a little bit difficult. I want to put this on top of the button. Let me just put the fabric. I don't like this. I think I take only the orange one. Yes. And then I'll tie a knot around these 2 elements. You can cut off the threads. And you have a cute embellished button. Let me show you the other buttons that I made, for example. This is another one. And I did basically the same thing as I did here. But I put a sequin on top of the thread. And I have, for example, this one. I put just a tiny little bit of this fabric again, and nothing more. And now let's use it on a tag, because I want to show you how you can use it in your journal. I have this tag in my stash for a long time, I guess, and I want to use this one. Oh, I think I want to use this one. So as I have here the orange thread, I take the tag to my sewing machine and go around with exactly the same thread that I use here on the button. So I went around twice with a running stitch, and I think I want to use a piece of this fabric underneath the button as a tag topper. Oh yes, this could be cute. So I think I will at first glue this down a little bit. So we need a piece of thread again. And I will go through the back of the button. So you can go again through the fabric to make sure that everything's tight. Oh, okay. That should be enough. And now I go through the tag. Then I thread the needle again. This is always such a struggle. Okay. Whew. And I place the button where I want it to have and go through the tag again. Can take the needle off. Pull the thread. And tie some knots. Oh no! Okay, I have it's still okay. This should not happen because this is I think that this tore, is that the right word? Yes, I think this has torn. I don't know. I think you know what I mean. Because this is a really old thread that I thrifted, and yeah, that's why. So I think I will glue a piece of paper just to secure everything. I didn't want to cover that up, but okay, we will make it safe and secure. I mean, you could also just glue down the button, but I think, yeah, I prefer sewing it on because I think this will last longer on the tag, but I think gluing is also a perfect solution. Yeah, so I hope you like it. This is the tag with a button. Here are some other buttons, and I'll show you the others again. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have some fun altering your boring buttons and using them in your journal. And see you next time on a new adventure. Bye!